choosing a shipping provider and figuring out how you pay for that cost isn't an easy decision. Some customers care about speed and want to have options and be able to choose the fastest option. Many consumers want to have the cheapest option, including a free option, and concealing the cost of shipping in your profit margins may be the best bet. Some customers want to have options because they have a preference. I live in a building that USPS and FedEx can figure out, but UPS drops packages off at the office and doesn't leave a note. This drives me bonkers, and if I have a choice for my building, I will always pick USPS or FedEx over UPS. Of course, as a business, you want to make sure that you can pay for these shipping costs. Sometimes that means charging the users the whole cost, some of the cost, or none of the cost, and generally speaking, you don't want to have dozens of shipping partners. That means maintaining more business relationships, and things are easier to get lost that way. Many e-commerce companies will use one or two primary shipping partners. If you have heavy or bulky items, you might need to use a third-party logistics company, or 3PL, to create a special shipping quote for you, and you need to estimate that in your e-commerce setup. We're going to go over the most popular shipping options in WooCommerce, going from easiest to the most complex. Ultimately, the decision on how you ship your products depends on your business and your customers. I'm going to give you all of the options, and I recommend picking one option to start. Or, if you want, you can pick free shipping in addition to one other option to keep it simple. We're going to use a couple different ways to ship products, but to do so effectively, we need to specify a couple different regions. We can use those regions as a cue so that WooCommerce knows which shipping methods to use in which regions. In WooCommerce, this functionality is called shipping zones, and zones can be as big as a country and as small as a city or zip code. A common way to use shipping zones that offer free pickup, in addition to other options if you're in the same state or city, and you could have a shipping fee for the rest of the US, and then a different shipping fee worldwide. Let's go to the admin and create these shipping zones. Let's start by going to WooCommerce, Settings, and then Shipping. Here we can see our existing zones. We can see one for the country, and a shipping zone for everything else. Let's click Add Shipping Zone, and let's give it a name. I'm going to call mine Local, and for a region, I could start with something like Colorado, where my store is located. But that's actually a little bit big, so I'm going to use something more sophisticated. I'm going to limit this to specific zip codes. I could type in 80,201, 80,202, etc. or WooCommerce lets you use ranges. So, I could type in 80,201, 80,202, or all the way up to 80,209. Or, we can use wildcards, so 80/20, anything. This will let me display special shipping methods to people who are in my local area in Colorado and who are limited to these specific zip codes near Denver. Let's save changes, and then we can add shipping methods here. Let's go back to our shipping zones. Here we can see local, the United States, and everything else. There's one more thing to be aware of. You can prioritize zones. You'll want to make sure you go from the most specific at the top to the least specific at the bottom. If you do it the other way around and have US above local, then local will never get displayed to the customer. WooCommerce will always use the first zone that matches the criteria, starting from the top. So, let's click and drag local above the United States, and now all we have to do is add shipping methods to these zones. Before customers can check out from this new zone, we will have to add shipping methods, which we'll cover in future videos. Now that we have our shipping zones, let's add a shipping method to them. Let's click into this local zone, since it doesn't have any shipping methods yet, and we'll scroll down, and here we see Add Shipping Method. Let's click that. And here we'll see 3 options based on what's available to us. If you have some shipping extensions installed, you might see more options here. For right now, let's click Flat Rate, and then Add Shipping Method. And once it's added, let's edit it. And here we can set a cost. This could be something simple like $5 per order or $10 per order. Or if we hover over this little question mark icon, we can do more complicated formulas. So we could do something like $5 per order plus $2 per quantity. So if we have one product that's going to cost us $7 and 2 products will cost us $9. There's also minimums and maximums and fees and percentages and a lot more that you can play with here. Let's go ahead and save this after I change the name to local delivery. Let's add one more. Again, this'll be flat rate, and I'll click edit. I'm going to call this rush delivery, and this is going to be $10 per order plus $3 per item. And I'll click save changes. Let's go back to shipping zones. I see both of them listed here. I'll go back to my site and then I'll go back to my cart, and we'll just take a look at this on the front end. Before we see our shipping quotes, we need to make sure that we calculate shipping, means to give e-commerce an idea of where we live. Here we see our 2 options, local delivery and rush delivery. Now let's go ahead and remove one of these items from the cart. and our local and rush delivery have been changed, so for the small price of $6 I might want that rush delivery. While flat rate shipping is simple to set up, it's also one of the most flexible shipping methods, but, of course, it is an estimate. You might lose a few dollars on one order and make a few dollars on some others. The point of flat rate shipping is how easy it is to set up. As you become more sophisticated and have a better idea of how much shipping costs you, you can look into more configurable options. But for people launching their first store, this is an excellent place to start. One of the things that consumers love more than a fair price is something that's free. Free shipping is a great way to attract new customers. There's some research from Forrester which highlights how much consumers value free shipping. Specifically, 39% of them are willing to purchase additional products to earn free shipping. This is especially valuable knowledge because not every business can bake in the cost of shipping into their products. This is especially true if you're selling smaller or less profitable items. So I'm going to set up free shipping on my site, and then I'm going to place some restrictions on it to make it work for this business. This is called unlockable free shipping. So we're going to go to WooCommerce, Settings, and then Shipping. And in our shipping zone, let's go into Local. We're going to add a new shipping method. I'll go down and click Add Shipping Method. And this time I'm going to add a free shipping method. I'll click Add Shipping Method. I'll go ahead and move it to the top of this list. And now let's edit it. Right now, free shipping is, well, free and doesn't have any restrictions. Let's go ahead and add a restriction. In this case, a minimum order amount. We could also add a free shipping coupon which we can give away if people join our newsletter. Let's say I can make a profit at $35 per order. That would be a great time to add free shipping. That's the minimum we could set it to. We'd likely want it to be higher, and there's a very good number you can use to help us calculate that value. I always recommend setting unlockable free shipping just above your average order value. So if most users are purchasing $40 worth of product, we should set it to something like $50. And if you want to, you can read through this report to find additional data to help you set the perfect unlockable free shipping price. Let's go back to ours. Since our average order value is $40, a value of $50 will encourage people to order just a little bit more and help us make a little bit more money by offering free shipping. Let's click Save Changes, and let's go to the front end and back to our cart. Here we can see local delivery and rush delivery. Let's add a few more items to our cart. And now that we're above $50, now we see free shipping. One last thing to note, if you have unlockable free shipping, make sure that you communicate that to your customers. Share that information on your site so customers know they can get free shipping at a certain price point. Unfortunately, it doesn't automatically show up anywhere, so unless you put in a little bit of effort to put it in a blog post or put it on your shipping page, people won't know it exists. Since you're using it as a tool to make more money, it's worth putting in a few places around your site. There are a few different ways to get live rates for your store. For the most part, you'll have to install an extra plugin to get live rates from shipping providers. There's a ton of third-party shipping services. The most popular are USPS, UPS, and FedEx. We're going to use the USPS extension, as it's one of the easier plugins to set up. A lot of these plugins do require you to have an account, which means copying and pasting a bunch of API keys back and forth. USPS has some default credentials you can use which will make setup much easier. I'll go to my site, where I've already installed and activated the plugin. Then, we can go to WooCommerce, Settings, and now we can see USPS. Let's click on that. Here we can see the default API key, and if you ever have problems, you can enable debug mode. Going back to shipping zones, let's go to our local zone and click Edit. Let's scroll down and click Add Shipping Method. Now we can see USPS as one of the options. Let's go ahead and add that. And now we can configure the settings. Let's click Edit. By default, this plugin will only show you flat rate packages, which is useful for some merchants, but many merchants will have specific box sizes that they want to work with. In that case, you will want to enable API rates by checking this box. Now you can adjust specific services and adjust the prices as you see fit. These are all the API rates available to you. We can adjust prices up or down, and we can disable certain services that we don't want. For right now, let's leave all of these on. Click Save Changes. We'll go to our cart. As you can see, now we see Priority Mail Flat Rate. If you aren't getting any rates, you likely don't have USPS configured properly, or you haven't added a weight and dimensions to your products. I know that I set a weight and dimensions right before this video, and I should be seeing a few more options right here. So let me go back to my settings and see what I did wrong. I'll go back to my USPS settings, and it looks like I forgot the origin post code, so let's go ahead and set this. We'll scroll back down, click Save Changes, refresh the cart, and now we can see all of the options available to us. For right now, it's fine to show users a selection of services, but generally speaking, it's a bad idea to overwhelm people in the checkout. So if you don't see people using a particular service after a couple of months, then I recommend disabling it. If you get a quote from USPS or some other shipping provider, you still have to pack the boxes, bring them to the shipping office, get them weighed, measured, and then finally pay for them. If you have 10 orders going out, you could easily spend an hour or two doing all of that. And you probably have something better that you can be doing with your time. A few e-commerce platforms make this easier by letting you print shipping labels directly from the platform itself. And lucky for you, WooCommerce is one of those platforms. We're going to be using the free label printing functionality in WooCommerce services. Let's create a new order, and we'll use the live rates from USPS that we set up in an earlier video. We haven't yet set up payment, so I've temporarily enabled a payment method just so we can check out, and I can show you this process. I'll scroll down to my cart, select one of these options, proceed to checkout. I'll enter my information here, and I'll click place order. Our order is received. Now, let's take a look at this in the back end. I'll go to WooCommerce. I see a little red one next to orders, meaning we have one new order. Here's John Smith. Let's click into that. And here we can see shipping labels. If you're just setting this up, you'll first need to add a credit card. I've already set this up on other sites, so WordPress.com already knows what my credit card looks like. Let's go ahead and click Create Shipping Label. And the first step is to confirm both the store address and the destination address. Since I've entered a fake address, I'm getting a little warning here. So you can either edit it or use the address as entered. And again, I'm getting a little warning here, but do make sure you verify. Once you've verified, use the address as entered. Now, we can choose the packages and the weight. As long as you have dimensions and sizes for all of your products, WooCommerce should help you pick the right box. So, let me go ahead and select one of these boxes that WooCommerce recommended. Scroll down, and then click Use these packages. Now we can select the different rates available to us. So even though the customer requested a specific rate, we can always change it to go faster or slower. Once we're done, we can click Buy and Print. And you can print this out with the printer you have at home. Once you print it out and attach it to your package, you can mark this order as completed. But since this is a fake address and a fake order, I am going to cancel this. But I'll show you how to change the order process from processing to completed. Now that you have all of your packages ready to go, the next step is to skip the line at the post office. Schedule USPS to come to your house and pick up those packages. Once you can print labels at home, this process becomes much easier. You don't have to set this up day one. But once you start shipping a package a day, I definitely look into printing labels at home and scheduling pickups to save you time. As your business gets larger or you start selling in multiple marketplaces, you don't want to have to check multiple websites to see what packages you have to ship. Instead, you may want to have a piece of software that aggregates all those orders into one place. Going into detail in this process is a little bit out of scope of this course, but I want to provide you with some resources in case you think this may apply to you. There are a ton of these services that integrate with WooCommerce, and ShipStation is one of the more well-known services. They automatically pull all of your orders into one interface, which lets you mark items as shipped, print shipping labels, and get discount shipping prices. And all this information travels back to WooCommerce, so it's in both places. Shippo is another well-known service which also has an integration with DHL, which is a bit hard to find. So if you need DHL, I'd look into this service. Another popular option is Shipping Easy, which again is really good at aggregating all these orders. As a business owner, it's much easier to give someone access to your shipping software than to give them the keys to your website. So as soon as you get big enough to have a helper, having a service like this just for shipping can be insanely useful to save you time.